super pumped. Again, I mentioned this is Agent Wealth Builders, a mastermind made for folks who are like in the same spot as you are, kind of like thinking about a career transition, thinking about where to go next in life. And I know that everyone's interested in real estate, so been having tons of conversations with folks, and this came to mind to create this group, this mastermind, to be able to have like folks just kind of share different wealth building tips and career tips and business to kind of help you elevate your platform and help you transition and essentially create a pathway into the real estate and like true wealth building. So super pumped to have guests on who actually are doing incredible things. I know I met Dan a few weeks ago, and Ryan Vizda, who I partner with, speaks really highly of him, and just heard great things about him, and actually got to meet him in person, just kind of talk to him and pick his brain about the industry, and he has incredible insights. He and his partner Drew just are just crushing it in real estate, and he'll share more about it. But super glad to just have you on this call with me, Dan, sharing your story and any advice you have for us. And I guess you could take it from here.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'm Dan Childs. Like David said, I live in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I run my business out of this area. I grew up in Goffstown, so I've kind of been in the same area my whole life. I left for a little while. I lived in North Carolina for 6 months, when I was working for a different company right out of college, and I've been kind of here ever since. My story starts in college. I'm 35 now, but I think that some decisions that I made then kind of teed me up to be able to build the business that I'm currently building and working on. Um, the main takeaway was that I was in college. I knew there's always kind of a core guiding light or path in everybody's life, something that they want to do, they're called to do, they feel fulfilled by, and they're hopeful about, especially when you're in college and you're making decisions. I was studying psychology at that time. I knew that I wanted to kind of my vision was save the world by talking with people about their problems and helping them through challenges. And that vision is something that still sticks with me today, no matter what I'm doing for work. So, I also reached a point my junior year in college, end of sophomore year, where I was ready to be an adult, which I wish I could take back because I'm still not ready to be an adult. But I decided that I was going to change my major from psych to computer science. It was really intentional. I was walking across my college campus. One day on the way to class, there was a flyer outside of a department door that had all the top paying graduating majors. Computer science was there at the top. It was like the second one. So I switched my major. I felt called to, like I said, graduate and be an adult, which to me meant not graduating and doing another 6 to 8 years of education. In my current direction I was working, that would have been kind of to be in a private practice setting, that would be what was required. So I kind of tried to jump the rails a little bit. I changed my major. I did 4 years worth of math and coding in 2 years. I don't recommend that to anybody. It was very unfun, but I was determined. I learned grit and tenacity in those 2 years. I gave up basically all aspects of my college social life back then to get this internship at Fidelity Investments. That's where I worked for 15 years, just about 15 years as a technologist in finance. I was very excited and happy in that role. Personally, things were going great for me. I had bought my first house at 23. I was renovating that property. That's kind of where, without knowing it, my real estate journey started.
Wow.
So I was renovating this house in the hopes of making it worth more and selling it at some point in the future. I had this great job, and that great job was a nice, constant in my life. At that time, I was always taking on new projects, climbing the corporate ladder. My spouse, Drew, he was also in corporate America. He was a chemical engineer. Um, he's 2 years older than me. So he had 2 years on me in his career. He was getting promotions as well. We were in our 20s and we were just basically buying real estate and renovating it, moving around. And that was where we kind of understood the power. We felt like we were, again, like jumping levels compared to some of our peers, using the power of real estate to do that. That's kind of another theme in my life. So it's two consistent themes kind of defined, looking back, kind of defined everything I've done. One is helping people by talking through their challenges with them, which I'm able to still do in real estate. I was able to do in my career at Fidelity, where I moved around quite a bit, ended up in a corporate technology coaching role. Um, and then also just always looking for ways to skip level. I think that what drives me is, again, like this notion of wealth building, which really is not about the wealth. It's just that wealth is an engine to live a life that we dream in our heads and make it a reality. At Fidelity, some of the takeaways I learned in my fintech job were um, people and networking are everything. All the opportunities that were there for me at that time were from relationships. I had multiple promotions into roles that I've really had no business being in, but it was the relationships that put me in those roles. And then another thing I realized when I was there is that um, I had this great job, was making good money, but I was highly discontented with the notion that that
Mm.
role was all there was. There were so many lifers there because it's just a great company, truly, with great benefits. And if you want to talk about wealth building, there's nothing like stock awards and profit sharing to help grow your wealth in your 20s and compound over time into your 30s. So I had all that going for me, but I was deeply personally dissatisfied. I felt that um, I had landed in my coaching role. It was a dream role that I worked really hard for about 4 years. And I had this feeling of, oh, is this it? That feeling changed my life. It led me to get my real estate license 4.5 years ago. And in the last 4.5 years of having a real estate license, I was able to do so much more with myself, my career, my personal journey, my life, and for my husband. I learned that the power of real estate, it's even more powerful than having a tech career. Um, the main reason being there's literally no ceiling on what you can do or how big you can make it and or how much work-life balance you can create in this industry for yourself if you put the right systems in place. Um, the amount of self-discovery that owning a business forces you to do has been pretty insane and humbling, I would say. Really healthy, but also challenging. And I think my belief in the industry being a great vehicle for living a nice life today and building wealth for the future is really strong. 4.5 years in, one of the biggest takeaways is that if you stay consistent, stay positive, have an abundance mindset, your efforts compound tremendously. And many people you know who have had, quote, success in real estate, they did it by doing the basic, boring stuff every single day. And that compounds, kind of like going to my job at Fidelity, kind of basic and boring on the surface, but I had all the stock awards and profit sharing that compounded and allowed me to leave that job and create this business that I'm in now.
Oh,
That has been that's a little bit of a history that kind of will help explain where I am today in my business. I've had my license for almost 5 years now. I was very part-time and kind of in and out of the industry for 2 years. Um, the last 3 years, I've been highly intentional. I think it's important to just, one of the biggest lessons that I want you guys to take away from this is if you're highly intentional, consistent, and you stick to your core values, in just 3 years, what your life looks like today can look completely different in just 3 years in the best way possible. Um, I don't want people to confuse best with easy, or the
mm,
timeline being short with the fact that it was easy. I'm willing to tolerate a very high amount of risk and stress in my business and in my life. It is a high risk, high reward industry. It tends to be anything in entrepreneurship tends to be, but especially in real estate. Um, in the last 3 years, with focus and with the right people around me at my brokerage, which is EXP Realty, and the right coaching, I was able to first work my husband out of his full-time job that he did not like. How we did that was we bought an investment property and I had my husband help me out with that property, getting it rented. And then he, in that time period, also got his real estate license so he could help me out with my real estate sales. That was the engine that allowed me to eventually quit my job at Fidelity. That was kind of one of the biggest risks I've ever taken, because, quite frankly, it was a great job with great pay and it was not super hard. Um, Hopefully, no one's listening from Fidelity to this call. But basically, what I did was I went from that great corporate job that was great on paper into something that was highly challenging, but also highly engaging, rewarding, and gratifying. Um, in a 3 year period of time, we have become top 2% in our local MLS as far as realtors for production. And we've opened a real estate office in downtown Manchester. We're growing an organization of realtors who want the same thing for themselves and who are just looking for partners. They don't want to be um, part of the 70% that didn't sell a house that year, or part of the, statistics, the 5 year statistics for realtors. It's not great. It's basically one out of every 15 will stay in it for 5 years. And a lot of that has to do with the support that's around them and the mindset of the leaders around them, and just the entrepreneurship tools that they have available and the coaching. So one of the things that I'm doing for kind of the next iteration of our business here is growing an organization of realtors who either are plateaued or have not had success, or folks who want to transition out of their full-time job like I did. I feel very well equipped to empower those three personas to have success in this industry, just based on my own experience. Um, that's kind of the arena that I feel really well versed in. And that's what I'm doing today. We are growing in Manchester. The other thing about EXP is we're able to grow across the country. So we don't have to just have people that are in New Hampshire that partner with us and get coached by us. You can be anywhere in the US. And in fact, you can be in 29 other countries as well, soon to be
Huge.
30, which is pretty powerful. It also, in my mind, eliminates one of the biggest risks when people think real estate. They think about market volatility and just being at the mercy of the local market. Um, I think that since EXP is a global brokerage and we can partner with agents across the country, it helps make everybody's business, you know, less risky, more tolerant of the markets. Different markets in the US are doing different things at all times. So if your business is in one local market, whatever happens there happens to your business. If you're diverse across the country, some markets are up, some are down, some are buyer's market, some are seller's market. It can make you really risk averse, which I appreciate. I said before, it's a high risk industry, but there's things you can do to take your risk tolerance and stretch it as high as you can, but also have safe holds in place. Um, my other biggest takeaway for anybody who's listening to this that has a full-time job that they feel is stable, but they're unfulfilled and they're afraid to make that change. There's nothing more risky than letting someone else decide if you have a job that day or not. And that's one of the things that I always was nervous about with W-2 full-time employment. You're essentially, whether or not you're employed is not up to you. And in real estate entrepreneurship, whether or not you're employed is directly up to how hard you want to work and what you focus on. You do not need to do real estate sales. You can build a team, you can build an organization and be a leader, a coach, a mentor. You can be a home flipper, you can be an investor. Um, if you're able to stay nimble and always have your eyes on the horizon, you will prevail and you will have income. If you do it right, you can have 4 to 5 streams of income. Currently, I have 5 streams of income. which helps keep the my risk tolerance kind of high in my sales business, which was important to me. So I think if anybody's looking to make a change and they're considering real estate for building wealth, it's an extremely powerful avenue to go. It makes people nervous. I think if you can tolerate discomfort and trust yourself, you will have success. And then just partnering with the right people.
Wow. That's huge. That's huge. I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. And a couple of things stood out to me, and I think I want to ask questions. And of course, like always, John or Herla is like in and out as well. But like, feel free to drop questions in the chat. I also did put Dan and Drew's Child's Realty Group in the chat as well to link with them. You can connect with Dan directly on IG as well, Instagram as well. And I wanted to ask you what the question I get when I talk to lots of agents, and and as you're talking, I had a couple texts of folks that couldn't hop on. Like, it's just such a huge value what you're sharing. Definitely want to post this afterwards, and it's just really great. How was that transition for you? Like, okay, you from leaving a job that window where you're like kind of part time to full time. A lot of folks are like in that same spot who are on these calls. Like, what was that like as far as timeline?
Yes. It was a interesting window. It was 2 years of time where I had personally felt um, it was one of the first times I experienced failure in something I tried, which was really challenging for me,
Wow.
very humbling. So I got my real estate license. I was, I did really well my first year. I sold 13 homes in the local market here in southern New Hampshire. Halfway
That's
through
huge.
that street, I left my full-time job. I had 6 months of living expenses saved, which is like the golden rule of quitting your job,
Hmm.
especially in real estate, where if you do something today to get business in real estate and you do it consistently, it will still take 3 to 6 months to have a result. That's the bad news. The good news is the results of what you do are usually 5 to 10x whatever you spend on time or money. That's one of my favorite things about the business. You could spend $2,000 on marketing and the average commission in our market is sitting right around 12 to 15,000. So if I said, "Hey, give me $2,000 in 90 days, you're going to get back 15," you would probably do it.
Yep.
So I felt really inspired to leave my job. I felt really confident. And then what happens to a lot of agents when they're new, a lot of your business comes from your friends, your family, your network around you, and referrals from there. You're feeling good about that. You're having wins and success. What you're not doing is the marketing and the lead generation. Typically, if you're not coming from a sales role, you don't know how. That was me. I was coming from a tech background. I had never done sales or marketing in my life. So I was not doing what I needed to do to keep my pipeline healthy enough to stay out of my job.
Hmm.
Um, Luckily, I think that everything happens for a reason. So one of my friends at Fidelity was looking to bring me back. She reached out to me. I took it as a sign that I was supposed to go back. So I left and I returned. That allowed us to buy our first investment property and it allowed my husband to quit his job. So I felt
Huge.
really like the universe was on my side and timing was on my side. At the time, it felt terrible. I actually decided that I was going to leave real estate. And I have a friend, his name's Tom Bolduck. He's an agent at Keller Williams here in Bedford. Really
Mhm.
good friend. One of the first people I became friends with in the industry. He called me on the phone and said, "Dan, don't quit." And I'll never forget that because I was in my office at Fidelity. And he said, "I can tell you're going to be great. Just don't give up your license, even though you want to." So I said, "Okay, fine. I'm not going to." I was getting business just organically, not a ton, but enough where I was able to get my husband out of his job, which was really powerful for us. Um, what happened then was I was having FOMO, watching my husband have all the fun in real estate and working a corporate 9 to 5 job. I was going into the office. I felt like I was missing out. Most importantly, I was missing out on time. Summer is my favorite season. I was missing out on warm summer days on the lake on my boat, and I hated that. And so I made a plan. I've had a real estate coach the whole time I've been at eXp Realty. Her name's Carrie Briner. She's a national coach. She's one of my business partners. I coached with Carrie. I've been coaching with her for 3 years. She's an amazing resource and a
That's
great
awesome.
friend and just a wonderful person. So we sat down together and she said, Dan, if you and Drew do these things, you will be able to quit your job. Um, so we came up with a plan and we trusted that plan. We actually did the activity we needed to do. We came up with activities to get real estate business that felt good to us that we would actually do. That was the critical part.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's huge.
in this industry, in any sales job, like there's a saying of everything works and nothing doesn't. So
Mhm.
you need to do consistent marketing. That's basically what that means. If you do nothing, you won't have any business. I know agents that how they get all their business is they update their church bulletin every Sunday. I know
Wow.
agents that how they get all their business is they go sit at the bar and they leave a stack of business cards at the bar. Like anything works and nothing doesn't. You have to find something that you're willing to commit to doing. And it will be uncomfortable, but you need to make sure it's something that's natural to you that doesn't feel weird. Otherwise, if you have weird vibes, you won't do the activity.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's big.
yeah, so I committed to myself and to Drew that I we were going to do that plan. Um, and we built our savings to the point where I could quit my job. And I said, honestly, I've already left and come back once. The worst case scenario for me looks like going back again. And I was willing to accept the worst case scenario and take the final leap out the door. And um, that was 2.5 years ago. So feeling confident that I won't be going back. So.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think is it if there's any advice would you give to an agent as far as like that, like right now in this market, like specifically in this transition, like what would you say to someone right now?
Someone who's trying to get out of their job or someone who just wants to level up their production or just in
I,
general.
I think right now the sweet spot in this call is like people who want to get out of their job and like really get into real estate, like right
Yeah.
now in this like the current market.
Yeah. Um, I think in the current market, what I'm seeing work is agents that have more than one way of getting business are having a lot of stability. Usually, stability is keeping people in their safety role at their current job, right? So, if you have more than just your friends and family giving you business, that could be social media, that could be a paid lead source like
Hmm.
Zillow. Usually, to be a full-time agent and have consistency, you have to have four ways of getting business. So,
Always.
a lot of agents have one, maybe two. Building to those four ways of getting business and letting those work for 90 days can look like leaving your job in 90 days. So I think it's just not running your real estate business on a hope and a prayer is critical when you want to go full time. Um, Manifestation is powerful. I think you can manifest yourself business, but you can manifest yourself business if you have consistency in the lead generation activity that you're supposed to be doing. That's 80% of the job. And what I find is realtors will get busy with the 20% that doesn't make them money. So you're updating your CRM with people's emails, you're doing your administrative work, you're answering every email, you're answering every text, you're kind of doing everything except lead generation activities. If you just flip that around and wake up and do the lead generation activities first thing in the morning or at a consistent time, 5 to 7 days a week, whatever works for your schedule. Maybe it's evening if you have a full-time job. The other 20%, look, it probably doesn't need to be done, or for very short money, you can hire a VA or an assistant to do that 20% if you feel that it's imperative.
That's huge. And I was John, you read my mind. I was gonna say, do you have any thoughts you want to drop in, any questions you want to ask Dan? 24 now, living at home, excited for a career change. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So what I would say is, there's an equation that needs to be done when you're considering making this move. So I said 6 months. So what do you spend every month to live your life the way that you live it today? This is something that a lot of people don't quite do all the way. So being honest looking at your bank account average of the last 6 months, spending every month, that's the number you need to earn. So let's just say for
Sure.
simple math, it's five or $10,000, whatever it is. Let's say it's 10 because that's easy math. And I'm not, even though I have a computer science degree, I'm terrible at math. So um, in this market, that's one sale a month, so 12 a year. So then it's okay, cool. So 12 a year will make me a full-time realtor. And there's going to be some deals that don't close. There's going to be some lifestyle creep when you get your first commission check. If you're anything like me, or second or third, you're going to buy something like you're going to buy that new car, make it a 6,000 pound car so you can get your tax break. You're
Ooh,
going to
okay.
buy that boat you want. If you're like me, you should do that, knowing that you are adding an extra sale to your pipeline every year or two. So let's just say you need to sell 12 homes a year. Let's go back to it. What do you need to do to have 12 sales? It's five real estate conversations a day.
Just five.
Five.
Hmm.
So your lead generation activity needs to be 2 to 4 ways to have those five conversations 5 days a week. So you can go to your church every Sunday and have 20 conversations. You can go to the coffee shop and meet someone new every day. I teach fitness classes, so a lot of my business comes from talking to people at the gym that I teach at. Everybody knows that I'm a realtor. I have one Instagram, it's Child Realty Group. If people want to get in touch with me, they know that's how. So it can be as simple as that. Um, Existing really strong with your presence in the groups you're already in. So if you have hobbies, if you play flag football, you should be really making an effort to have conversations with those people in flag football in this example. And what's going to happen, because real estate is so amazing, when people find out you're in real estate, they're going to ask you questions about it. Everyone wants to talk about real estate, everyone. So you aren't going to have to work that hard to have the five real estate conversations. If you're if you're an extrovert, it's going to be easy. I'm a huge extrovert. I could talk to everybody for hours. My husband Drew, huge introvert, chemical engineer, engineer brained person. He did have a lot of growing to do in his first year when it came to like putting himself out there and being more talkative. It was a force. That was something that he had to really learn. And one of the ways that we found success in him doing that was he was great one-on-one. So he would take a different local business owner to coffee every single week. That's
Wow.
cool because those business owners have a lot of reach. So that will help drive referrals. It was cool for him because he was comfortable. It was a one-on-one setting. It wasn't in a group. And it was cool for him because he got to grow from there. And, now he's not an extrovert. He may never be, but he's totally comfortable doing marketing and having sales conversations. It took like 2 years of consistency for him to have it be a natural thing. Um, but again, that was changing over 30 years of who he was naturally, which was more introverted. So,
Yeah.
um, if you're a super extrovert, this is a great industry for you.
Hmm.
But if you're introverted, there will be some challenges, and just having the right support, having the right coaching, having a coach that understands you will help you identify those lead sources to get to those five conversations, to get to those 12 sales. 12 sales is a six-figure salary in this business, which is why that's a number that a lot of new agents focus on and aim to get to.
Wow, that's huge. And I think I also, and you mentioned in EXP like the co-sponsorship and kind of like that. You have some time to kind of speak to that too and opportunities. I
Yeah,
know John's on the call, and just for folks who are going to see this afterwards as well.
yeah, totally. John, you just said your goal is fire
Oh,
or police with real estate on the side. Yeah, that's huge because exactly like you said. So it's building, that's going to be your group of people. They're going to know, like, and trust you. They're going to know your work ethic. And so that one of the challenges with winning people's business in real estate sales is building that trust. Um, and, you know, that's why referrals are the best business. 85% of my business is referrals because there's some built-in trust. If I said, "Oh, work with my guy John," and you like and trust me, chances are John's going to be reasonable, trustworthy, and good at what he does. So that's really powerful. one of my really good friends is actually an insurance sales broker, insurance agent, and he's a firefighter. And a lot of his business comes from the firehouse and
Wow.
referrals from those people, as well as realtors. So that does work. It also is great from what I understand with the schedule, especially in fire. You work like 3 days and you have the other, like, depending on the week, you have the other days to work on your business or spend time with your family. So that's great. I think that could be really good for you. Um, there's a stigma around part-time realtors. Uh, a lot of full-time realtors will say like, oh, they're kind of like half in or whatever. I think a lot of it is, um, it can make sense if your part-time job is filling your sales pipeline. So maybe it's bartending, maybe it's baristaing, maybe it's firehouse, whatever it is. If it's giving you conversations and you can do some marketing of your real estate sales business and it's paying your bills at the same time, to me, that's a win-win-win. I was a part-time realtor. I was more successful than a lot of full-time realtors. So I think it
Yeah,
depends
so
on the
true.
person and what your drive is. Um, so yeah, EXP sponsorship and co-sponsorship. I'll just touch on that really quick. Essentially, at EXP, all the agents join organizations of agents and we all partner with the broker team. Unlike in a traditional model, I won't deep dive on this. I can, if anybody wants to, just give me a call, DM me, and I can talk to you. I've been at EXP for 4.5 years, so I can talk to you for hours about the differences. But traditionally, all the agents report to a managing broker and a principal broker. At EXP, agents align with each other, which really helps with mentorship and coaching. You pick an agent or a group of agents that represent what you feel is going to be a good fit for your career goals, and a good personality match, and you name that person as sponsor on the way in the door. And EXP Realty shares top line revenue. They share 50% of the company dollar back to the agents that recruit other agents to EXP, which is really powerful, because it's not Dan taking John's money. It's EXP paying Dan a little bit of their revenue for making sure that John is successful in his career. Um, that's a high level 10,000 foot version of sponsorship at EXP. We have the ability to also have a co-sponsor. What that really means to the agent coming into the company is you can pick two people that you want to be aligned with that will be your support system, your confidants, your mentors, your coaches, and name them on the way in the door. So you'll get the benefit. A lot of times people will, like, I'll talk about, for example, myself. When people name me as sponsor, they want a local presence here, but they might love Ricky Caruth on Instagram. He's a great sales coach, real estate agent at EXP. You can name Ricky as co and have access to all his training. He cold calls with the best of them, and all of his coaching is about cold calling. So we have the ability to do that, which is incredible for the agent coming in. It's never usually the first choice. Like, most people, co-sponsorship comes up when the agent brings it up on the way in the door. Let's say, for example, somebody wanted to join Ryan's team, the Vista team at EXP, but they wanted to have an office in Manchester. So Ryan would introduce them to me and say, hey, this person wants an office in Manchester. We're going to have them name you as co because they live downtown and they want mentorship in town and they also want to be on a team. Best of both worlds. It's a win-win for the
Hmm.
realtor. From the EXP revenue share perspective, EXP just pays the revenue share to both the sponsor and the co-sponsor in full. They don't have you split it, they don't take it away. It's just really powerful. It's a win-win for everybody. I don't want to harp on the co part because it could muddy the waters. I'll just kind of give one more example of where it comes into play. If I meet somebody who wants to be part of a team, I don't have a team, and they feel a team would be a good fit for them. Let's say you're a part-time agent and you want more business and you need support. You work 9 to 5. A team is a good fit for you. Like, you could join Ryan's team and name me a sponsor and have the Manchester office, have me as your main person, but be on Ryan's team and get the benefit of everything she's doing. So, um, it's only a positive for the joining agent. It's one of the things I love most about this company. They just keep adding net positives all the time. And they introduce new features and new tools, new tech to the agents, us agents all the time, and they never increase any fees. It's $85 a month to be at eXp Realty, and you can build a business that build generates multi-millions in revenue for literally no overhead other than $85 a month. And anywhere in 29 countries, which is pretty unbelievable. Even saying it, it almost sounds like it's
It's insane.
unbelievably, yeah, insane, right? Like $85 a month and you can build a business that can literally make you millions and you can do it in 29 countries. Like, yep, put me in for that.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I think I wanted to make sure there's like room for calls. Terrence, I see you hopping on there. Uh, Yeah, really excited for that. Any other questions from you guys? I didn't want to, I could ask a ton of questions, but feel free to drop them in the chat. And also, I did, again, I just wanted to remind you guys, did leave Dan and Drew's Instagram, Child's Realty Group, in the chat as well too. So feel free to connect with him directly and in your way. And there's tons of opportunity with EXP and building a business as well. So any last minute thoughts, Dan, that you'd share with folks as we like wrap up the call soon?
Yeah, if no one has any questions, I would say two things. One is that if you're building a business, make sure you're building systems as you go. A
And,
lot of times, and I'm guilty of this too. You kind of like go, 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 and you end up firefighting through your days and weeks. Um, when you're a brand new agent, that tends to be what you do, and that's completely okay. At the 2 year mark, I think it's important that someone around you teaches you how to build systems in your business and get leverage. I think a lot of us are in this for time freedom and financial freedom. And neither of those exist without systems that can run your business at least a little bit or a little bit of leverage. Maybe it's a transaction manager and a marketing. I have a college intern from St. Anselm College, which is where I went to school, that
sweet.
does our marketing. So building leverage will help get you out of doing 10 jobs in your business. I coach on that. I think it's really important. I've learned the lesson the hard way multiple times. Um, and the other one is every single month, and we're shifting this a little bit with the summer being a busy season, but I host an in-person real estate event. It's called AHA, which stands for Agents Helping Agents.
Nice.
What we
Yes.
do is we get together, it's at lunchtime, we have lunch from a local downtown business catered, and one of the speakers is always a local entrepreneur or a local real estate agent who is doing something awesome that I think will help agents grow their business. Um, it's not always real estate, it's not always EXP. My goal with AHA is for agents to feel connected and to feel that they're not alone in entrepreneurship, which has major peaks and valleys, as I discussed. It doesn't matter if you're a real estate entrepreneur, you're a restaurant owner, or you run an insurance business or a coffee shop. We all go through the same peaks and valleys of entrepreneurship. And I just thought, you know what, let's get agents in a room and make them feel not alone. That was how this started. Um, been running it for 2 years now. It's going really well. We're taking a break for the summer. We've got some stuff going on in our business that's taking our time away, but we're gonna have a big September AHA, so look out for that. We're gonna
Awesome.
have a panel of speakers. I'll make sure to get the information over to you so you can share it with everybody else.
Yes. Awesome, Dan. I love that, man, so much. I appreciate you. And I again, guys, the link is in the chat. And if you want to set up a one-on-one call as well, too, just type growth in the chat or message me directly. And as I mentioned, this Agent Wealth Builder is a mastermind for folks who just like in those spaces where they're just looking to make a next decision, transition from either the brand new agents to trying to go from part time to full time, or just from the corporate world into real estate, and then want to get into investing and flipping, and just a great space to kind of like connect with folks here. So super excited to have Dan Childs on the call, man. You're just awesome. Just every time you speak, man, just like it's just incredible. And is it any you had some recommendations too for books as well too? I know you shared some awesome stuff with me before we
Yeah.
started.
Yep. I have a couple recommendations for books for realtors that are listening. I have, you can, if you want to swing by my office and borrow them from me, that's great. If not, Amazon it up. Sell It Like Sirhan. Everyone probably knows Ryan Sirhan. He's a Netflix phenomenon. He owns a brokerage. He wrote a book called Sell It. It literally is Realtor 101. It's his life story, but there's amazing takeaways. First year, second year realtors or part-time realtors that want to grow. Great book. The other one that I always recommend is Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. It literally gives you scenarios like buyer said they want to walk away after a home inspection. There's 2 pages of ways to handle that,
Wow.
which I really appreciate. It's like a pocket dictionary for realtors, quick, punchy read. Um, Helps you understand your buyer's emotions and your seller's emotions, which is really important in the transaction. And then the third, for anyone that's interested in leadership and building an organization, specifically at eXp Realty, or building a large team, I would recommend Building an Empire.
Nice.
It's a great book. Brian Crothers. I follow him on Instagram as well. It's a network marketing book, and a lot of the core tenets of network marketing apply in any form of recruiting, leadership, retention. Doesn't matter if you're a manager in corporate America, if you're a business owner. I really, really, really like just stripping it back to the basics is really important to me in anything I do. It's easy to get the waters muddied. So that kind of, that book is just great for that. If you want to build an organization, if you're someone in network marketing, if you're an agent at eXp Realty, great book. Just read it and do what it says, basically. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that so much, man. Dan, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. And thanks so much for being on the call. And again, these calls happen every Wednesday at 12. And super excited to have folks on next Wednesday. We'll have Ryan Vizda, actually, team leader, on the call as well. And just other just amazing people in just like the real estate, wealth building business field, doing incredible things on these calls. So, guys, enjoy your day. Dan, appreciate you.
Thanks.
Once again, follow him and Drew on the link is in the chat. So tap that in and yeah, we'll lock in, man. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, likewise. Appreciate you being here. See you
Bye.
guys.